has reported flat earnings for the 6 months ending in June. That's despite a 4.7% increase in revenue to 2.7 billion rand. The private education company's numbers were lower, recording a 1.4% decline in learner numbers, which impacted earnings. A 74 million rand impairment also dealt a blow to the company's balance sheet. Curro CEO Cobus Loubser speaks to us now. Thank you so much for your time, Cobus. A lower number of enrollments, not a good sign. Talk to us about reaction to that.
Yeah, thank you for having us on the show and for taking an interest in Curro. Look, I think it is a tough kind of moment economically. I think interest rates has been quite high. It's been coming back a little bit lower now, and things seem to be improving. But I think for our sort of families, certainly at the beginning of this year, we started the year with about 1,000 learners less than the year before. So that means that we were a little bit lower on the learner count. And I think from our perspective, I guess you could say, well, we got 1,000 learners less, or you can say that we still have 72,000 learners that support us, and nearly 15,000 learners that joined at the beginning of the year. So we think there's sustained demand for what we do, for the education that we offer, which is compelling, for the academic tuition and the excellence on offer. And we believe it's a cyclical kind of issue. It's a moment in time economically. But of course, the operation that Curro establishes a very, very strong foundation for many decades into the future. And so I think from our perspective, we're confident about that future and about the potential to add more learners to the schools in the Curro portfolio.
Now, the Curro model is designed around affordable private school education. What's to be said about a change in strategy as you've given the attributing factors of a tough economic climate, as well as those numbers reflecting the difficulty that households face?
Yeah, I think it's important to appreciate that over the years, we've created different models that cater to different market segments at different price points as well. And I think that was initially an attempt to try and satisfy both the demand for education, but to do so at a sensible kind of price point. I think more recently, we've really looked at our pricing architecture, and we if I look into 24, into 25, our fees on average went up by about 5%, just over 5% per learner. And going into 2026, we think that number will be a little bit lower. We think it'll go up by just over 4%, 4.5%. And particularly in our primary and pre-primary schools, we're making a concerted effort into 2026 to kind of contain fee increases as best as possible. So to really try and help families to enter our schools and to participate in the education that's on offer.
What then is to be said about Curro's reputation? There was some damage in earlier years. Would you say that this could also be linked to maybe a slump in terms of popularity and choice for some parents?
Look, it's a difficult issue, and of course, over the years, I mean, we've had various kind of challenges. I mean, South Africa is not a perfect place, and Curro is definitely not perfect either. And we've made mistakes. We work with people every single day, but I'm very proud of the organization that we have and the care that we extend to our learners and to our communities. And I think occasionally, people may make mistakes. And then we've got to deal with it. We have zero tolerance for racism. We have zero tolerance for fraud. We have zero tolerance for the kind of isms of abuse and of bullying and all those kind of things. But these are matters in our society that we've got to face up to and deal with from time to time. So I think from our perspective, we are working with communities and with parents to raise young children and to try and create a bright future for the citizens of tomorrow. And I think we're very proud of what we've achieved and what is possible from here.
Lastly, I know it's still early days, but is there any reaction so far from Curro Holdings around the Yanni Mouton Foundation and the bid that they've put forward to buy Curro?
Yes, I mean, of course, we received the offer, and that was published this morning to the market. It is an offer, so it's not a done deal. It is subject to regulatory approval. It is being considered by an independent board who must take advice independently on the valuation and make a recommendation to shareholders who ultimately will vote on whether they wish to accept the offer. So there's much work over the next few months in this process if the deal was to be concluded. I think from management's perspective, I think the pertinent point is that the Jannie Mouton Foundation is a public benefit organization that is not a competitor to Curro, and that seeks to do good. And I think from our perspective, Curro is a force for good in our society. We are on a mission to extend education to as many learners as possible, and that's exactly the kind of ideal that the Jannie Mouton Foundation carries. So we think we aligned from that perspective. And then, of course, the price, the offer that they've made is at a significant premium to the market closing price of the shares on Monday. And that should be attractive, I guess, for shareholders, but ultimately they will decide on that.
Thank you so much for your input. That is Cobus Loubser, the Curro Holdings CEO. At the same time, Jannie Mouton Foundation has made that significant offer to buy out Curro and acquire all its shares. We are joined now virtually by the foundation's Jannie Mouton to speak to us more about the offer that they've made. A good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start with why exactly it is the foundation is looking to get into this particular asset.
To me, Curro is South Africa's largest private school business. Education can be a public benefit activity, and for us it was an opportunity to invest donate 7.2 billion rand for education in South Africa by buying a well-run business that we know the management at Curro, and it is substantial. According to our calculations, it's the biggest donation ever in South Africa. So, and it's in line with our founder Jannie Mouton's wishes. He always is very proud of education and what education can do to change a country and make it a better place.
Are you confident, though, with all the regulatory processes and the deals that have to be struck to get through this particular sort of acquisition, that you will come out on the other side with an all-round thumbs up?
Yes, it's a substantial premium to the Curro shareholders. For them, it's 60% more than the closing price. So that rewards them quite well. And it's not a competitor taking them over. So that should also make the regulatory process smoother. It is, in essence, a donation. The foundation is buying Curro, and then Curro is going to change to a non-profit company, which means it will have no shareholders. So Curro is in that process donated for the benefit for South Africans.
Thank you for your contribution, Jannie Mouton from the Jannie Mouton Foundation, talking to us about their plans to acquire Curro.